You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. In the tangled world of lawsuits and financial disputes, few cases have captured as much attention as the fierce legal battle over R Kelly's Sony Music royalties. It's a story of creditors, alleged victim and attorneys locked in a high-stakes race to claim millions tied to the embattled singer. Today, we speak on the drama between Heather Williams and Midwest Commercial Funding, two entities that were fighting tooth and nail over the same pot of money. Let's start with the key players. On one side, Heather Williams, a woman who came forward with allegations of abuse against R. Kelly. In February 2019, Williams fraudulently secured a $4 million default judgment after claiming Kelly had sexually abused her when she was underage. On the other side was Midwest Commercial Funding, a Chicago-based property management company. These were not here to fight for justice but for money. Midwest leased a recording studio to R. Kelly and later sued him for unpaid rent, claiming he owed them over $3.5 million. By June 2020, they had also secured a court judgment against R. Kelly. Williams and Midwest knew that R. Kelly's financial situation was dire. With mounting legal troubles and dwindling personal assets, their only hope was to go after the royalties owed to Kelly by Sony Music. But here's where things get complicated. U.S. law generally follows a first-come first-served principle when it comes to creditors. This means that whoever could lay claim to the royalties first would likely walk away with the prize. Heather Williams' lawyers acted swiftly. They filed a citation to discover assets in March 2020, targeting Sony Music and requesting that Kelly's royalties be redirected to her to satisfy her judgment. But Midwest Commercial Funding wasn't far behind. They filed their own citation in July 2020, aiming for the same pool of money. This set the stage for a legal showdown. At the heart of the dispute were two individuals here busy fighting for what didn't really belong to them, and that is Mr. Kelly's royalties, in a fashion that left onlookers shocked. Williams' attorneys argued that her claim as a victim should be honored first, but Midwest's legal team countered, saying they had followed all legal procedures to secure their judgment and had every right to collect R. Kelly's royalties first. The fight quickly became a battle of interpretations, technicalities and legal precedent, all in the name of monetary gain. Adding to the complexity, both parties had to navigate a tangled web of garnishment laws and procedural rules. In Illinois, where the case unfolded, the rules governing creditor claims are strict. Any misstep, a missed deadline or an improperly filed document could cost a claimant their shot at the money. With millions on the line, the stakes couldn't have been higher. Meanwhile, R. Kelly's royalties continued to accumulate. Despite his legal troubles and maliciously tarnished reputation, his music catalog remained valuable. Hits like Ignition and I Believe I Can Fly still generated substantial income. For creditors like Williams and Midwest, these royalties represented the best and perhaps the only chance to collect on their judgments. However, the competition accuser Heather Williams displayed was quite a display of greed. It was hard to understand how anyone would want $4 million as compensation for anything, especially from a default judgment where the defendant was never heard. It is also sad to know that such a decision was made by the U.S. Department of Justice court aimed at extortion for monetary gain without cause. Would there even be enough money to satisfy both claims? With Kelly facing multiple lawsuits and additional creditors lining up, the pool of available funds was shrinking fast. Instead, this seemingly added an extra layer of urgency for Williams to the fight for the money. In court, the arguments were fierce. Williams' attorneys emphasized the moral weight of her claim, arguing that a victim of abuse should take precedence over a commercial landlord. Midwest's lawyers fired back, insisting that their judgment was just as valid and deserved equal enforcement under the law. At this point, the two were literally fighting for R. Kelly's royalties. Legal experts weighed in on the case, pointing out that while Williams had a compelling moral argument, the courts would ultimately be guided by procedural rules. The law doesn't play favorites, one expert remarked. It's about who followed the rules and got there first. In the end, and as expected by a compromised court, it ruled that Heather Williams had priority over the royalties, and that her earlier filing gave her the edge she needed to secure her claim. However, the circus wasn't entirely over, as Midwest Commercial Funding continued to pursue their claims, seeking any remaining funds after Williams' judgment was satisfied. Heather Williams' hopes were eventually shuttered when her default judgment was overturned by the same court after attorney Jennifer Bonjean intervened in the matter. R. Kelly's attorneys argued that the absence of her client was not a willful disregard of the legal process. R. Kelly was overwhelmed by the sheer volume of lawsuits and legal issues he was facing at the time, many of which drained his financial and emotional resources. Without adequate legal representation for this specific case, Kelly was unable to respond in time, leading to the default judgment. The overturning of the judgment sheds light on an important aspect of the legal system: the right to a fair defense. Courts are meant to provide justice and not to simply rush to punish absent defendants. The ruling to set aside the default judgment was based on procedural fairness, giving Kelly an opportunity to present his side of the story in court. Legal experts have weighed in, noting that default judgments are often overturned when a defendant can show valid reasons for their absence. In this case, the court agreed that R. Kelly deserved a chance to contest the claims against him. For supporters of R. Kelly, this decision is seen as a small victory in a legal environment that has often seemed stacked against him. The excessive investigation of one person, sheer number of lawsuits, media narratives and public scrutiny have made it difficult for him to mount a comprehensive defense. Overturning the default judgment allows him the chance to defend his name in a court of law, which is a fundamental right afforded to everyone regardless of their public image. It's important to remember that the legal system is designed to balance the scales, ensuring both accuser and accused have their day in court. This is especially crucial in cases involving serious allegations, where the consequences of a judgment can have lifelong implications for all parties involved. R. Kelly's supporters argue that the overturning of the judgment demonstrates the need to separate public opinion from legal proceedings. While the court of public opinion has largely condemned Mr. Kelly, the legal system should operate on evidence, due process and fairness. This distinction is vital in ensuring that justice is not only done but seen to be done. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say. To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.